Hi guys, and holy shit, my ELO rating has gone up by almost 200 points because of this guy. Hi guys, welcome to this video, and today I would like to talk about some things that could resemble some hope in the future with regards to things like the Pacific gigantic island of garbage and how we can actually turn that into a huge profit. So first of all, with this, I would like to point out that the YouTube channel TAOW they came up with an electric foundry for metal casting, and if you watch this video, I'll probably put the link into the comment section down below. If you watch this video, he talks about how you can actually build one for your own, and he even made it into a two-parter. The second version, the second part in this two-parter that he made, it involves him basically taking what he already built and making it into an upgraded version. Now, this is one of the many ways that people can possibly take, they can maybe recycle some of the things that they've got laying around. That way they don't have to bother with giving it to someone else or giving it to the local recycling plant. They can just recycle it on their own. Now, what makes this electric foundry special is the fact that most of the other foundries that you'll see on YouTube, they'll require things like, okay, hang on, let me just... here we go. So if you take a look at, if you just Google, search on YouTube DIY Foundry, you'll see Grant Thompson, the king of random, right there at the top, and you'll also see how to make a large $50 mini homemade metal foundry furnace. That is such a long title. Anyway, propane or charcoal. That is a non-renewable resource. It costs money for you to get, and let's just put it this way. If you had solar panels, the electric foundry would be free to use. I mean, you have to replace certain parts of it through maintenance and such, but with this, you'll have to pay for the propane, or you'll have to pay for the charcoal. And while charcoal has been known to melt through steel, which, if charcoal can do that, then certainly jet fuel can. But while charcoal has been known to melt through steel cans, that does still render the possibility that you'll have to pay for the charcoal. And if you make your own charcoal, that's still not nearly as efficient as just powering it with electricity and using an electric foundry. So there's that possibility. You've got an electric foundry, and you can just collect scrap metal throughout the place and get you can use it the way that this guy suggested. If I recall correctly, Grant Thompson suggests turning it into, say, a statue, or maybe something else.
Welcome to Grammar.
Please excuse the obnoxious advertisement. But anyway, this is one example of things that you can use, that you can use that aluminum furnace for. You can also use it to make brass knuckles, or maybe you can use it to build bullets. The possibilities are basically endless, and so you see with some of the ways that you can use this aluminum. Now, what if you were to forge something like this and then sell it? That could turn a profit. And once you've built the electric furnace, and then you've paid for it, and you make enough of these aluminum things and then sell them, you could turn a nice profit, because assuming that you just pick up cans off the side of the road, you're basically getting free scrap metal, and if you're doing that, then you're going to be able to make free money basically out of thin air. Now, this of course assumes that you've got a solar panel that powers your foundry, and then from there you've got everything else that needs to go with it. But this is just a possibility. Now, here's another possibility. So this guy came up with this device that he calls precious plastic. Now, what this is, it's basically a plastic shredder. Let's see if I can find a nice little Okay, this video is of him basically crafting his shredder. It's him building his shredder. And now you have to be a craftsman in order to be able to build this, because some of the things that you have to do are you have to have access to welding equipment, and then you have to weld the pieces together. You have to have really great precision in order to properly build this piece of equipment. But once you have it built, it's basically there, it's done, you can use it, and here he talks about some of the ways that he uses it.
We like to use ABS, polypropylene and polyethylene because we can easily find them around and they're pretty easy to mold into something new. So the first step is we're gonna shred it.
Yeah, if this video interests you, then I suggest you check it out. Now, one thing that I would suggest if you do decide to take the route of using plastic is, well, I'll just let you watch the intro of this one.
Today we're going to be making muffins, but trust me, this is one recipe you won't be able to find in the kitchen cookbook.
Basically, what he's doing here is he's turning his aluminum cans into muffins, and the reason for this is that he's basically making it into an aluminum ingot. The purpose being that once you've melted down your aluminum and once you've turned it into a fine metal, you are able to, you got it lying around. Now let's put it into a shape that we can store it in, you know? And when he chose the aluminum muffins, because as you can see by the pixel size, I believe, his muffins can pretty much fit right into that foundry of his, just like the aluminum cans there. And so he melts down the aluminum cans. That's only a little bit of aluminum, but then he pours them into his muffin baker, and that turns them into aluminum muffins. And then he can basically store them around, and when he wants to make something, he just melts a muffin. Easy as that. Now, as I was connecting this with the precious plastic, you could simply... Okay, let's check this out. Melting point plastic. Excuse me, my nose is... Okay, so according to this, plastic has... Depending on the plastic, it can melt anywhere from the boiling point of water to 255 Celsius. So, on the one hand, that's pretty hot. You'd burn yourself if you touch that. But let's compare that to aluminum. Now, before I check this out, you can already... If you've ever worked with plastic on a stove, you know, you'll melt plastic accidentally on a kitchen stove. On low, I believe. Yeah, it melts easily. Plastic melts easily on a stove. Now, aluminum? Not so much. You'll have to take a really hot oven in order to melt aluminum. So, this puts into perspective just how easy it is to melt aluminum. And you can see that mathematically it is ridiculous, the difference between the two of them. So, precious plastic might not even need that electric furnace, but just in case it does, you're able to melt it with that furnace, and even if you don't, you're still basically able to make plastic muffins. I mean, this guy is just making aluminum muffins.
Today we're going to be making...
But maybe you could make plastic muffins the same way he made aluminum muffins. Of course, it'll surely be much safer than his method of making the aluminum muffins, because as you can see there's a lot of fire going on in his aluminum making process.
So now that we have some, all we have to do is fire up the foundry and toss a few nuggets into a clean crucible.
Here he showed the process of taking the ingots, the aluminum muffins, and tossing them into the foundry. That's the general idea of what you want there. So yeah, based off of the melting point of plastic, it's 212 degrees Fahrenheit to 491 degrees Fahrenheit. That's basically boiling point to 255 Celsius. Well, To put it in perspective, just how easy it is to melt plastic, the other day I was cooking something on the stove and I dropped a Ziploc bag on the stove. It turned into a puddle. So yeah, hair. That accident basically proves you don't need any special equipment to put this precious plastic machine to use. In fact, you could basically just make a plastic.
Project, we're using backyard science
Yeah, you could basically just build a plastic muffin with
cookbook.
it,
In
make a plastic muffin, and then you're good to go. You've got plastic ingots, and bam, you're fine. Now, one thing that you could also possibly do with this is to recycle glass, but you gotta be careful with this, because according to this, glass melts, ordinary glass melts at around 550 degrees Celsius. Comparing that to aluminum, that's 660 Celsius, so your glass possibly will melt before the aluminum, so your aluminum foundry will function. However, that ain't always enough because soda lime glass melts at 1500 Celsius. Now that just blows this 660 number out of the water, but let's compare that to something really hot. Let's compare it to steel. 1370 degrees Celsius. Is it me or is it getting hot in here? Now, one of the things that you'll find when you're searching up the Google terms ocean trash island, well, obviously you're going to find all sorts of these crazy little things, but you're going to see a whole lot of tires. This means tires are just treated as trash. We use them, we take them off of cars, and we throw them away. No, that's not good for anyone. And according to Wikipedia, another thing that happens with tires is that they're usually burnt. And while I don't necessarily know of any good ways that we can recycle tires at home, like we can with plastic and aluminum and maybe glass if we're lucky, we can already see that tires do have some uses, in terms of making them into something that's not so polluting. For example, three kids on a tire swing, which tire swings in general, you can also use them to make art, and maybe you can also, in a pinch, they might be burnt, but this sentence describes the problem with that rather elegantly. Tire fires can occur easily, burning for months, creating substantial pollution in the air and ground. Excuse me. So anyway, that's another possibility if we decide to recycle some of our garbage and sell it. You could probably build something like this somehow and then sell it. Yeah, that could get you a few dollars, I think. In the future, I intend to make a follow-up video for this one that describes some of the ways that we could make homes completely sustainable. Like, imagine a solar panel rooftop, a huge orbital Dyson ring around the planet that is constantly generating solar energy, wind turbines that can. You know about the wind turbines, you probably know about hydroelectric, geoelectric, yada yada yada. But the Dyson ring is one huge possibility that I really like, personally. So yeah, I've got a bunch of ideas in this topic. Let me know in the comment section down below if this video was enjoyable for you, if this seemed informative for you. And it's about 10 o'clock, so that's all I've got time for now. Thank you for watching this video. Like, comment, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed it, and I will see you later.